Is the Tamron 28-75 still delivering good performance and relevant in 2022? That is the question I will try to answer throughout this video. And if you already know me, you are aware that I'm not doing technical reviews talking about distortion and vigneting at different f-stops and taking pictures of brick wall. A lot of people are already doing this on YouTube and they are doing a wonderful job. So my goal is more to discuss and try to explain how it feels to use that piece of gear on an extended period of time and how it performs in real world situations. I have owned this lens and used it a whole lot for more than 2 years now, so I think I'm in a good position to give an unbiased and balanced opinion. At the end I will also briefly compare it with its competitor and give my own recommendation if you're in the market for a standard zoom lens. I went to see the fall colors and have a picnic with the family the other day, so it was a perfect opportunity to use the lens in various situations: landscape, portrait, and landscape street photography, how I like to call it. So the pictures and footage I captured throughout this day will serve as a filler to illustrate my point.
めっちゃ綺麗。Maple leaves are turning red.
So let's start with the autofocus. In 2022, there have been a lot of lenses coming out in the meantime, which have faster autofocus, but I don't think they are changing the game completely. This lens, when it came out, alongside everything the mirrorless system brought, was a real revolution. The accuracy and the speed of the autofocus completely blew what DSLR's lenses were able to do. So yes, newer lenses have slightly quicker autofocus than this 28-75, but after almost 2 years using the lens, I never caught myself thinking that I wish the focus was faster or more accurate.
Almost looks fake. これも雰囲気がある。朝劇場。ふるさと劇場。
So let's now talk about the focal range this lens covers. It is a standard zoom lens, but it is from this new generation where the manufacturers, namely Tamron and Sigma, make them start at 28mm instead of 24. It goes from pretty wide at the start to what can be already called like a telephoto focal length. This one stands out as it goes up to 75, but it doesn't make a huge difference, I think. Every additional millimeter you have on the long end are not very significant. If you think in percentages, this extra 5mm means only 7% more than 70mm. In real-world situations, you can't really tell the difference honestly, and such a minor difference can easily be compensated by a tiny crop. So let's quickly mention now the feel of the images you can get with this lens. And this point will be pretty quick because I have absolutely no complaints. I like the feel of the shots you can get with it. The colors, the contrast are beautifully rendered. I sometimes do not use the lens hood and shoot backlit to get some flare in my shots, and I always liked how it looked.
ぱい作ってくれたね。ありがとうございます。ここに写真はどうなるかな。そうのさん、きれい。
あ、いい写真。
いいね。
見して。
And what about the form factor and build quality? So it is a pretty budget standard zoom lens, so you can't expect a very solid metal sleek design. It is mostly plastic, but it does the job. And as a result, the lens is really light, which is very welcome on long shooting days. This also contains the filter thread at 67mm and will save you some money if you buy some ND, VND or creative filters. A lot of people complain about the absence of a custom button or a manual focus switch, and yes, it doesn't have that, but having used the lens with a Sony a7 III, a7 IV, I think there is enough button on the body to assign the manual focus switch somewhere else. And let's now address a very important point, which is the sharpness. It is overall quite good, even at 2.8, the widest aperture. It performs really well from 28, and the peak sharpness is around 35-50mm. My opinion is mostly positive, but here comes my major negative point about this lens. Anything over 50mm at 2.8 is not really sharp. If you are taking a portrait at 75mm at 2.8 and your subject is close, let's say that it's almost 50% of your total frame, it will look fine. But as you will see in the upcoming photo, when your subject is quite far and small, the sharpness falls apart. Given that I typically like this kind of composition in my more landscape, street photography shots, it is a bit of a shame that this lens cannot really deliver fully in that context. But to be fair, once you step down to f4, the sharpness is back and it looks very nice. Luckily, this issue is more on the long end of the covered focal length. Thanks to the compression you get at 60-75mm, you can still get some sort of depth even at f4. I'll now quickly talk about the video side, and it will be pretty short because everything that I said in the photo section also applies here. Fast autofocus, good range to do a full video project with just that lens, good image quality, and easy to carry thanks to its form factor. And finally, about the sharpness, it is the same. Overall great, but lacking at 2.8 over 50mm, which is actually less of a problem in video, I think. Some people actually like less sharp images when it comes to filming videos, and looking back, I haven't been as frustrated when noticing a little fall in sharpness in my video footage, so it was not such a problem as when taking stills. It might be because video is obviously in motion, and we can tolerate more of these less sharp images, as we are not really likely to pause and stare at a frame for long seconds like we may do when looking at photos.
和樹さんと坊さんの写真撮りましょうか。2人だけで。そうだね。うん。はい、ありがとう。
So now I will compare it against its competitors, and I'll give you my opinion on something I've seen in a lot of YouTube videos. A lot of people have been comparing this lens with the Sigma and the Sony 24-70. I think that the underlying motivation to do that is pretty positive, because they are trying to prove that a budget alternative can deliver really good performance even against these two more premium lenses. But to me it's a bit unfair because we are kind of comparing two different products. One starting at 28mm and the other at 24. It doesn't seem like a lot, just a 4mm difference, but on the wide end it is very different. 24 obviously let a lot more enter in the frame, and in some situations you won't be able to step back a little bit more with your 28mm to match what you can get on a 24. So no, I won't be facing it with those 24-70 alternative, which in a few words are better overall, sharpness, field of view, build quality, but they comes with a higher price tag, bigger form factor, and premium build. So yes, they are different products. That out of the way, let's compare it with the Sigma 28-70 and the Tamron 28-75 G2. Both of them are slightly lighter and smaller, as they came out more recently and they managed to be even smarter with the engineering, but still, it's not like they suddenly became pocketable, so making your choice purely on the form factor is not the best in my opinion. The Sigma is slightly better in overall image quality, but it also lacks a bit of sharpness at the long end. The Tamron G2 is the clear winner in that aspect. Both of them have very good autofocus speed and accuracy, and also the price tag is pretty much the same. The Tamron is about $50 more expensive. When you invest about $800 in something, a $50 US difference should not be the determining factor, I think. So here's my recommendation. You probably could guess it, but I would suggest you to get the Tamron G2. It is the clear winner, as it gets the edge in overall image quality and sharpness. On paper, it is slightly bigger and heavier than the Sigma, but it is quite negligible to me, as the Sigma is not getting pocketable thanks to its few grams and few millimeters less. Going back to the initial question, yes, the Tamron G1 is still relevant in 2022 if you are already owning it. Only very few people can justify an upgrade from the G1 to the G2, as it already delivers a lot. But if you are on the market now for a new lens, it doesn't make sense to get it, even second-hand at a small discount compared to the G2, which is also quite available on the second-hand market. If you decide today to invest in a lens, spend an extra $100 and get the G2. You will certainly be more satisfied in the long run. And here we go. I hope I managed to help you a little bit in your decision process, and if you have no interest in those lenses at all, I hope you enjoyed the scenery in this beautiful Japanese countryside. Looking forward to read your feedbacks and answer some questions in the comments, and with that, let's catch up in the next one. Bye.